of the Standard Choice 2017. Parties raking billions from aspirants, and it's now being called harvest time. More than 21,000 aspirants in 10 parties have declared interest in 1,871 seats, paying these parties up to 2 billion shillings. So let's begin with this, considering that you're all aspirants sitting here today, and this issue isn't restricted to one party per se, it is across the political divide. So Chris, let's begin with you. As an aspirant, the gubernatorial seat in Kisumu, it is being termed as a contest of, whoever has the most money wins this.
The parties have rules and regulations that if you meet, then you become an aspirant. No one was pushed from his house to come and pay and contest. So people who have been yearning to lead in whichever capacity decided to save their monies and pay and try to get into the positions that they're yearning for. In the case of Kisumu, definitely it is not an isolated case. In ODM, a governor aspirant will be expected to pay 500,000, and maybe women and youths will be given 50% off.
Right.
What you realize that campaigns are expensive and expectations are high with the electorates, and this attracts a lot of expenditure on the candidates. The candidates have also tried to beat each other by way of spending because, money attracts and, wanasema pesa ni sabuni ya roho. So what we have witnessed is a lot of candidates with looted public resources have attracted a huge, massive following. You will realize that some candidates maybe pretend to others that they will influence the tickets. So when they don't have the resources, they also claim, like in Kisumu, we have a professor walking around that he can influence maybe for MCAs, MPs, and other aspirants to get tickets. So they follow him foolishly, thinking that he will, when he gets his ticket, he will also deliver their tickets. There are also those candidates who maybe pretend that they have money. Some have also looted public coffers, and other aspirants who might be interested in their money are also following them. So they are not clearly following for principles, but following for interest. Some people follow other aspirants because they expect these other aspirants to support their candidature because that aspirant look more liquid. But the electorates are also clever. They know this is the harvesting time as well. This is their tax, their tax that is at display. So they will eat your money. But when they come to the ballot, they will be realistic with the situation because the higher the bribery, the higher the expenditure during elections will also affect the voters because these candidates, some of them will have to get back their money.
All right, Chris. Now, I want to touch on a few things that you've said, beginning with what you finished with. The higher the bribery. We're talking about bribing in the electoral process as if it is a normal thing. This is an electoral offense. Where have we gone wrong as a society? To begin with, you as a gubernatorial aspirant are expected to pay 500,000 shillings. Does that mean then it's not a fair playing ground for the youth and the women who are very disenfranchised in society? Because 50% off of 500,000 shillings is still a lot of money for youth and women to pay. Secondly, why is it that political parties have accepted electoral offenses like bribery, and you're comfortable speaking about it on national television as if it is something that should be condoned?
Bribery is illegal, and what we have witnessed is that government agencies are weak in terms of tackling this issue because it is all over. Choppers flying left and right like birds to who voters, people lining up to receive 50 shillings. It is all over, but we have not witnessed a serious action from the government. So we can say that our agencies are not supporting the party.
Just the government, Chris, but
condone,
even the parties themselves within the ODM party.
The parties might not have that elaborate infrastructure to arrest and prosecute, because a party has limitations of what they can do. The government agency, because we are not operating in a country with no laws, the government agencies that are mandated to tackle corruption, voter bribery, needs to come up and also come to play and protect the voters, because what we are witnessing is a market whereby everyone come dish money, you don't care where the source is, and people are confused. They don't know whether to vote policies or vote for bribery. So we have to protect the electorates and ensure as a country we have a principle of electing quality leaders without really looking at the deep pockets.
Okay. Shege, Chris talks about protecting the electorate, and he brings in a lot of issues here. First of all, doesn't the very regulation by political parties that an aspirant must pay hundreds of thousands, running up to millions of monies, isn't that a recipe for corruption to begin with?
First of all, let me counter what he said, because he talked about these guys follow the law while it suits them. He says government agencies should be in the lead to curb corruption, but they also don't want the government agencies to take care of their votes while they are voting. They want to employ thugs to check. Anyway, having said that, everyone now wants, there's a new buzz, everyone wants to vie for something. I mean, if you come to Ngara, there are over 20 candidates. If you go to his area, I think there are more, you know. And there has to, the party also needs to, we need to look at how we finance our campaigns. Because if they're so monetarized, then the parties also have to find a way of creating or getting money. And there also has to be a fee, so that also it becomes a deterrent to the millions of people who would want to go for the same seat, yet they also don't have anything much to offer. So I think it's high time we look at the campaign financing, and we also look at how parties are also financed, so that once the party gets, the major parties that are players countrywide need to get some funding from government. So now we reduce the dependence from members of the public or who would be voters to contribute to the party. That is one. Two, we need also to look at, he also alluded to the fact that, you know, bribery of voters and all that. We also cannot have a law for everything. You can't, Michelle, we can't legislate over your heart and mind. They also have, the public also have to come out and say, this I can take, this I also can't take. It's also a moral question, it's also a value system question. So voters also need to look at the candidates that are being presented. Do they have what it takes? Have they done whatever is supposed to be done? Then they score them on the basis of what they want to do, and probably if there's an incumbent, what they have done. Then from there, let's talk. But now, some areas, people just want to line up and be given something. And I think even as a society, we need also to look at that, and I think media should come in to help, to try and decipher. For example, the Nairobi gubernatorial seat. And they also, my friend is also running in Kisumu. You guys have to organize at least what is it called, a debate, so we also know who's who and what are they doing. Don't bring one person to come and just shout whatever he wants. Just bring all of them, let's put them to task on the questions that are facing Nairobians and that kind of a thing. That will, in one way or another, help Kenyans or Nairobians understand what is supposed to be done. I know there will be a presidential debate, that's going to happen. So I think two levels. One, the public also needs to add up to their value system, and also the government also, through probably Political Parties Act, we need to find a way of streamlining campaign financing.
I mean, Peter, can we say we're on the right path in fighting corruption when we have aspirants and political leaders and incumbents who are busy dishing out money and bribes to the electorate?
I think it boils down to the parliament, because we need to really get laws that can change our culture as a nation. Because now I go to my ward, if I cannot be able to sit with people and buy soda for my constituents, I might not be even listened to. This is a culture that's being enshrined slowly to our people. And I think Parliament should come up how political parties can be fully financed. Not only the allocation that the parties get after elections, but also like the primaries. Should be really not a party affair, who has money takes what. It should be an issue who is a Kenyan who believes he's a leader. And also I want to concur with my brother Chege and Charles, what's the media playing on this? Because the media should now disseminate this back to the ground from a ward level, whereby how many aspirants are we? We're having 9 aspirants. Can you come in this particular ward, in this ward? Can you tell us, in terms of infrastructure, what are you doing to do when you're elected? In terms of healthcare, how are we going to do, and what mechanism have you put in place, so that we also deter these people, the Mr. Moneybags, from coming just because somebody's a retiree somewhere and he has looted the parastatal comes now, that's a retirement package. Politics is not for retirement beneficiaries. Politics for those people who believe they have a calling to serve. But you see, in Kenya, there's a culture, anyone who becomes an MD somewhere after stealing all the major contracts, after 6 years now says, I want to be a member of parliament. He goes to an NGO world, steals somewhere, and then tells, I want to be a governor, just because he stole from an NGO world. So this culture must change. And the only person who can change this is our parliamentary system, which has to come up with laws that can put parties into check. Because I'm a young person, I paid 15,000 for my party to buy. But you find there are about 9 other old men who paid 25,000 to buy.
We're mandating the same parliamentarians who will be going out there to ask for these elective seats to again put laws that...
That's what you're saying now. It begins immediately after election. A new crop of parliamentarians who will come and see, because we faced it as aspirants out there. We'll come and say, let's stop this. The problem with Kenya, when you get somewhere, you forget where you came from.
All right, Shege has
something
something to add to that.
Jubilee had requested that IBC conducts its elections. Of course, it was free. But I think it was a good proposal moving forward. So now, the issue of the major parties can do nominations that are governed by a centralized, independent body. That will slash all this, a lot of money that goes through whatever, because you can't also, if people wanted
like
to
now
buy,
if you ask me a question, how is Jubilee going to finance these 20,000 plus officials as a party?
Right.
Can we do an audit
and that's
of the same? Because when you see,
we are paying for it. You know, we are paying for it through the nomination fees. You get, and I'm saying it would be a good step moving forward. The IBC or an agency of IBC, they can probably put up a small agency to be doing all the primaries and also elections like LSK or Kenya Union of Journalists. You know, all those elections that are there can be handled by one body that can be mandated to conduct all these elections. Because I think it won't be that expensive, and at least you'll have the fairness that everything is going to be done in a more credible
Michelle, bribery manifests in so many things. Including opinion polls. You find these info-track guys, they come get bribed, and then who pays the chauffeur gets the calling. So instead of even the media just reporting info-track said this, they also need to investigate. You can't go call 1,000 county employees and say the incumbent is leading. The opinion polls have also been bribed. We will wish to see the media also reporting and saying, in the issue of Kisumu, for instance, what has the incumbent done on the IRC? What has the governor done on the garbage, which is really still thing? What has the government of the day delivered to the people to say this rating is worth the percentage? You don't just get paid because we don't even know where their sources of income come from, these opinion polls, and then get to the media house, pay the media house and say, present this. And then it goes to Labaloo, so and so the incumbent is popular. Popular of doing what? What has they delivered to the electorates? So who gets to pay the opinion poll? Guys, where do they get their earnings? Because they drive in big cars, they live in lashy houses.
On page 25 of the Standard, there's an opinion poll here saying that Kabogo and Ranguma are still very popular. So, I mean, now that you're all aspirants, shed some light into some of these hidden means or hidden ways of corruption in elections that Kenyans really don't know.
Yeah, because I think it is not magic that in Kisumu case, you find even a candidate who has not even paid for nomination, rated. How do you rate someone who is not even an aspirant for that case? So it is an evident case of who paid who to get the figures at their happiness. So we want to say that when we are saying bribery involves bribing the minds.
Right. Because
when you bribe the minds to believe you are popular, and then you are defeated at the ballot, then you cause chaos and demand the certificate, is because you have bribed the electorate to believe you are popular. When the people go to voting, then the result comes different, then you claim you are rigged out.
All right, that being said, there's been a lot of calls to vet aspirants and anybody going into the elections in terms of their integrity, any allegations of corruption against them. Is this something, Shege, in your opinion, could maybe bring some sanity back into this fight against corruption?
Vetting, I think, vetting, of course, is very important, because if you look at somebody's case and that person has issues with good conduct or whatever, it's a pointer. It's not necessarily telling you that there's something, whatever, but it is a pointer. If you have issues with your education, it's also a pointer, right? So I think we should not politicize some of these issues if we want our system to work. as he's talking about opinion polling is a science. I mean, there's a way you do it. But the issue is not the results. The issue is how it was reported. If the media comes out and say this opinion poll was commissioned by whoever, so we know this is a person who paid. If he's winning because he's the one who paid, let it be reported. If their respondents were about 1,000 people, how did they sample this? 1,000 people. So now it's very clear. Because we can't also just like it when it is favoring you, and when it is not favoring you, it is wrong. So I think the reporting needs to be very clear. Before media takes it up and say we are going to report whoever is leading on this poll, all these factors need to be known. Who commissioned the poll, the respondents, the number of respondents based on the huge area. Because, I mean, sometimes it goes wrong like the way it went wrong in the States.
Right.
So it needs to, for me, it's about the reporting. When it comes to vetting, also let us know if I cannot get my good conduct, why am I not getting this good conduct? So it's clear for even your public to know the reason why this guy is not having problems with schools and whatever is because of 1, 2, 3. Yeah.
All right. Let's have final closing comments from Peter with regard to this voter bribery situation.
As I said before, voter bribery situation in Kenya is a problem. It's a culture. And this culture is being exhibited from the top. You know, when you see every corruption happening in Kenya points to a particular top man and women in this country, it trickles down. Assume your father is a witch. Everyone in the community knows even the son is becoming what? A witch. And because that comes into your mind daily, you end up becoming a witch, unknowingly. So for me, I believe this culture is being perpetuated by the top organ of the nation, led by the president, the deputy president, who don't want to reign on. Can you imagine now Anne Waiguru is vying for the governor of Kirinyaga? Despite the fact our young people in Botela, in Kaloleni, in Makongeni, who contribute their money to the sack of NYS have never been paid up to date. And the same institution, the anti-corruption, are clearing her. The same institution, the CID, are clearing her. It's a pity to our nation. You know, it becomes a culture. When you look at young people from Rift Valley, I'm sorry to say this, many young people are so ambitious to get shortcuts to life. Why? Because their mentor is a shortcutter. It's a problem for a nation. It's a really culture which you must handle it critically and face it head on. Because when you ask someone to do a life audit currently, let me be very precise. When you tell some big shots from the president, deputy president, can you do a life audit of your life? You can't even explain. And also, this institution should not be used. Like the issue of Joho in Mombasa. From 1985 to now, this is a time now the government says that this guy was not eligible to go to the university. In fact, the issue of vetting all the aspirants, if I was in parliament, I could have amended that law. That if you want to be an aspirant in a country, you must present yourself to this organization 2 years before. So that this organization will have ample time to verify and to check your background. Because the issue, because 2 months to election, someone says now you have a wrong certificate, you cannot be given a certificate of good conduct because the CID director is from the same area. In charge of what verification in the examination council, the same guy from the same village. It's not adding up.
All right. Chris, final comments, please.
Yes, it is sad that verification has been used politically because what happens to those people who are not vying in political positions, who have certificates and working in different organizations and carrying on with their daily lives? Does it mean that only politicians should be verified? It's a pointer to our organizations, our systems, that it is riddled with a lot of corruption. But we are taking this verification as a subject of fighting our opponents. I will want to verify you so that you are out of the race. I will want to verify you so that you are punished for not supporting the government of the day. So in the case of Mombasa, it's a sad case that Joe has to go through this because of standing strong with the party, standing strong with these people. And then those people who want to push maybe some leaders to the people have used this to punish Joho. I want to say this, that the government of the day has got it very wrong. By trying to punish Joho, probably they have made it more popular. It's now more popular than it was before. So sometimes we also need to be careful on how, as an organization or as a government, how do we tackle issues of verification, issues of corruption. let it not be looked like victimization. There's a way of doing it that is professional. But when we take it as a political battle all the time, now you have all the government agency behaving into the political equation, then we lose the integrity of even the government agencies. So I will request that let our systems remain relevant to all Kenyans, serve all Kenyans because we are paying them our taxes to serve us. Let them not be partisan to satisfy their appointees, to satisfy their clansmen and kinsmen and the gods which they worship. I will wish to see a government that will treat all Kenyans, irrespective of their party affiliations, irrespective of their religion affiliations, irrespective of their clans and tribes. Thank you.
Equally. All right, and I think that's a good point to leave it at. Many thanks, gentlemen, for joining us. Shege, you did have your final closing comment, but let's give you one more.
Yeah, one
very
more.
few seconds.
Of course, I have to wish him well. He's vying in Kisumu, and of course, my brother, who is my very good friend, Putemoto. I also wish him well in Makongeni.
Right.
And I wish that the public comes out and get involved in the nominations, and you do your best. Start vetting or looking for your guys right now.
And asking for Raila vote from you, okay?
All right, so you start vetting your candidates now. Many thanks for speaking to us, gentlemen. We've been speaking to Chris Ondiek, who is the Kisumu County gubernatorial aspirant. We've also had Shege Maura, who is the Ngara Ward MCA and also the Deputy Secretary General of the County Assemblies Forum. And last but not least, Peter Imwatok, who is the MCA Makongeni Ward, who have joined us this morning on our newspaper review. And that conversation brings us to a close on the show. My name is Michelle Ngele. We thank you for watching. I'll be back at 10 a.m. with more updates on News Center. Good morning.